A sniper's bullet shatters an alien's cloak on a stormy night. Voice. They thought they could take us out. They had no idea who they were F***ing with. The Galactic Empire, a sprawling interstellar regime, watched Earth with a mixture of fascination and disdain. The planet's crude radio signals had reached their ears, hinting at a reckless species wielding primitive but unpredictable technology. To the Empire, humanity represented a volatile threat, untrained, untested, and unaware of its limitations. Yet their unpredictability posed a problem the Empire preferred to extinguish before it grew out of control. A decision was made in the shadowy halls of the Imperial Council. An elite team of alien assassins would be dispatched to Earth. Their mission was clear: decapitate humanity's leadership and plunge the planet into chaos. Cloaked in state-of-the-art stealth technology, and armed with plasma weaponry capable of reducing steel to ash, the assassins were deemed unstoppable. The first signs of their presence were subtle. In Geneva, a Nobel-winning physicist vanished without a trace. His charred laboratory was the only evidence of his existence, though no human technology could explain the precision of the attack. In Washington, a high-ranking general was found dead in his secured office. The surveillance footage showed nothing except a faint, unidentifiable blur in the corner of the screen. The pattern spread quickly. Silicon Valley lost one of its brightest innovators in a mysterious explosion, and Tokyo's most influential diplomat was killed in his armored convoy. Humanity's governments scrambled for answers, but the randomness of the attacks left intelligence agencies baffled. Panic began to ripple through global leadership. What humanity couldn't know was that the assassins operated with surgical precision. Each target was chosen for their role in advancing Earth's technology or maintaining military stability. The Galactic Empire's plan was unfolding perfectly. Earth's leaders, scientists, and strategists were falling one by one. But perfection isn't invincible. In a remote mountain town in the United States, the Empire's plan encountered its first snag. Chris Hawk Hawthorne, a retired Navy SEAL sniper, lived a quiet life far removed from the chaos of the modern world. His days were spent maintaining his cabin, fishing in a nearby stream, and savoring the solitude. One evening, Hawk sat on his porch, the faint hum of a news broadcast playing from a crackling radio inside. The headline caught his ear: the death of General Frank Marshall. Hawk froze. Marshall had been his commanding officer during the Gulf War, a man he owed his life to. Though retired, Hawk had followed Marshall's career closely, and his death struck a nerve. The broadcast provided few details, but something about it felt wrong. Marshall wasn't the type to be caught off guard, and the timing of his death alongside the other high-profile incidents didn't feel coincidental. Hawk's instincts, honed over years of combat, stirred. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this story. That night, while the world reeled from another wave of assassinations, Hawk stood in his cabin's armory. Rows of meticulously maintained rifles and gear lined the walls, remnants of a life he thought he'd left behind. He didn't know exactly what he was preparing for, but his gut told him trouble was coming, and trouble was something he understood. The Empire's operatives weren't infallible. While their technology gave them a significant edge, their arrogance left them unprepared for the chaotic ingenuity of human resistance. One assassin, tasked with eliminating a senator in Colorado, underestimated the vigilance of local law enforcement. During their escape, a malfunction in their cloaking device revealed their presence for a split second, just long enough for a grainy security camera to capture an image. The image made its way to military intelligence. Though blurry, it showed something unmistakably non-human, a towering, insectoid figure holding a weapon unlike anything on Earth. The photograph leaked to the public, sparking conspiracy theories and panic in equal measure. Hawk saw the image and immediately understood. He'd faced enemies before who believed their superior firepower would guarantee victory. They all made the same mistake: they underestimated the tenacity of someone with nothing to lose. As he packed his gear, Hawk's mind sharpened. He wasn't driven by patriotism or a desire for revenge. For him, it was about the hunt, about proving that no matter how advanced the enemy, there was always a way to win. The assassins, spread across the globe and executing their missions flawlessly, remained unaware of the storm brewing in the Rockies. Hawk was coming, and he wasn't just a soldier. He was a predator, and for the first time in their perfect mission, the assassins were about to become the prey. Hawk's return to action wasn't marked by fanfare or official orders. It began in silence, the kind of quiet that comes before the storm. His truck rattled over uneven mountain roads, the barrel of his Barrett .50 caliber rifle glinting faintly in the moonlight. The photograph of the alien assassin sat folded in his pocket, a constant reminder of the enemy he was hunting. He had a plan. Years of operating in hostile environments had taught him one thing: no matter how advanced the opponent, they had to follow patterns. Patterns could be exploited. Hawk spent days combing through news reports, identifying hotspots where assassinations had occurred. He focused on Colorado, believing the assassins might have a regional base hidden in the rugged terrain. Hawk's first break came when he intercepted a local police report of a strange disturbance in a nearby forest. A hunter claimed he'd seen a figure shimmer and vanish into thin air. Armed with his rifle, thermal scope, and a well-worn map, Hawk set out to investigate. The forest was dense and eerily quiet, the kind of stillness that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. Hawk moved with precision, his steps muffled by years of practice. He had no illusions about what he was up against. The assassins weren't just soldiers. They were predators in their own right, trained to hunt and kill without leaving a trace. Hours of tracking led him to a clearing where the ground was scorched, the faint smell of burned vegetation lingering in the air. Nearby, Hawk found something he hadn't expected: footprints, large and deeply embedded in the soil, leading toward a rocky outcrop. They were too precise, too deliberate to belong to an animal. Hawk followed the trail to a narrow cave entrance. He scanned the area with his thermal scope but saw nothing. Still, his instincts screamed at him to stay on guard. Stepping cautiously inside, he noticed faint scorch marks on the walls, evidence of plasma fire. The assassins had been here. Deeper into the cave, Hawk heard a faint hum. He crept closer, his rifle raised, and saw it, a cloaked figure adjusting a wrist-mounted device. The assassin was unaware of his presence, its shimmering form flickering as it worked. Hawk steadied his breathing, taking aim. He understood the stakes: one shot, one chance. The crack of his rifle echoed through the cave, followed by the dull thud of the alien's body hitting the ground. The cloaking field deactivated, revealing its insectoid form in full. Hawk approached cautiously, scanning for traps, but the assassin was dead. He examined the body, taking note of its armor and weaponry. He retrieved the wrist device, carefully prying it loose. It was a small victory, but it was enough to confirm what he'd suspected: these assassins weren't invincible. Back at his cabin, Hawk studied the device. Its interface was alien, but he recognized certain patterns: energy signatures, proximity sensors, and what appeared to be a communications array. He pieced together a rudimentary understanding of how it worked. It wasn't perfect, but it gave him an edge. The next day, Hawk tested his newfound knowledge. Using the device, he intercepted faint signals, triangulating their origin to a remote valley. He knew it was a trap, but it didn't matter. He wasn't just reacting anymore. He was hunting. In the valley, Hawk set up a sniper's nest on a ridge overlooking the suspected location. Hours passed as he waited, his scope sweeping the area. Finally, he spotted movement, 3 shimmering figures moving in formation. They were careful, their cloaks rippling as they scanned the area. Hawk's hand steadied on the trigger. He exhaled slowly and fired. The first assassin dropped, its cloaking device short-circuiting as the bullet tore through its chest. The remaining 2 scattered, their plasma weapons lighting up the valley. Hawk relocated quickly, using the terrain to his advantage. He understood the assassins were faster, stronger, and better equipped, but they lacked one crucial element: they didn't know how to think like humans. They relied on technology, patterns, and logic, tools Hawk exploited mercilessly. One by one, he picked them off, using distractions and feints to draw them into vulnerable positions. By the time the firefight ended, Hawk stood victorious, his rifle slung over his shoulder as he surveyed the aftermath. The valley was littered with scorched earth and alien bodies, their advanced tech useless against his relentless precision. But Hawk didn't celebrate. He knew this was just the beginning. The assassins weren't acting alone, and their mission wasn't over. He retrieved more gear from their bodies, piecing together fragments of their strategy. The device he'd taken earlier now revealed something new, a signal originating from deeper in the mountains, stronger and more consistent than before. Hawk's mind raced as he prepared for the next step. The assassins had underestimated humanity once. They wouldn't make that mistake again. But neither would he. This was no longer a battle of survival. It was a war, and Hawk was determined to win it. The signal led Hawk to a location buried deep in the Rockies, a place where the natural terrain provided cover even advanced technology couldn't penetrate easily. Using the alien device, Hawk pinpointed a narrow canyon that funneled into a concealed entrance. He studied it for hours, watching from high ground with his scope. He observed faint distortions in the air, signs of cloaking fields guarding the entrance. Whatever was inside, it wasn't just another assassin team. This was a command post. Hawk relayed the intel to his contact in military intelligence. They had been working quietly in the background, analyzing the technology Hawk had delivered from his encounters. With his discoveries, they developed a crude EMP device capable of disrupting alien cloaking systems for a short time. It wasn't perfect, but it gave them a chance. The military assembled a small strike team to assist Hawk. These were elite operators, trained for the kind of precision work this mission required. Hawk, however, insisted on leading the charge. He wasn't just the one with the most experience. He had a personal stake in seeing this through. They moved under the cover of darkness, approaching the canyon with deliberate silence. Hawk used his thermoscope to locate hidden sentries, marking their positions for the team. The EMP device was activated, sending a shockwave through the area. Instantly, the cloaking fields flickered and dropped, exposing alien guards stationed along the canyon walls. The team struck swiftly, taking out the guards before they could regroup. Hawk's rifle barked in measured bursts, each shot finding its mark. Plasma fire erupted from within the canyon as the remaining aliens scrambled to respond. The fight was brutal, but the element of surprise was on humanity's side. As they pushed deeper into the canyon, the strike team encountered resistance unlike anything they'd seen before. Alien drones emerged, hovering silently before unleashing devastating energy blasts. Hawk adapted quickly, targeting the drone's power cores with precise shots while the team used cover to evade the onslaught. The battle culminated at the base entrance, a fortified structure carved into the mountain. The team breached the facility, moving methodically through its corridors. The interior was a labyrinth of alien technology, glowing panels and humming machinery filling the air with an otherworldly energy. Hawk led the way, his instincts guiding him through the maze. Along the way, they encountered more assassins, their advanced weapons cutting through the team's defenses. Losses mounted, but Hawk pressed on, his focus unshaken. Every step brought them closer to the heart of the operation. Finally, they reached a central chamber where the alien commander awaited. The creature was massive, towering over its subordinates with an air of cold, calculating authority. Its armor shimmered with advanced shielding, and its weapon pulsed with lethal energy. The commander spoke, its voice a guttural mix of clicks and snarls, translated through a device on its wrist. It mocked humanity, calling them primitive and doomed to extinction. Hawk didn't respond. Words weren't going to win this fight. The room erupted into chaos as the commander unleashed a barrage of plasma fire. Hawk and the team took cover, returning fire while trying to find a weakness in its defenses. Hawk noticed that the commander's shield flickered briefly whenever it fired its weapon. Timing his shot perfectly, he aimed for the moment of vulnerability. The bullet struck true, piercing the shield and embedding itself in the commander's shoulder. The alien roared in pain but didn't falter. It turned its attention fully to Hawk, recognizing him as the primary threat. The fight became a deadly game of cat and mouse, with Hawk using every ounce of his training to stay one step ahead. He led the commander into a trap, luring it into an exposed position, while the team planted explosives on critical systems throughout the base. As the countdown began, Hawk faced the commander head-on. Their final confrontation was brutal, a clash of raw power versus human ingenuity. Hawk used the environment to his advantage, setting up his final shot with precision. The commander charged, its weapon glowing with deadly energy. Hawk fired. The bullet struck the alien square between the eyes, dropping it instantly. The remaining aliens, disoriented and leaderless, fell quickly to the team's assault. The explosives detonated, collapsing the facility and sealing the canyon. Hawk and the surviving team members escaped just in time, the glow of the explosion illuminating the night sky. The alien base was destroyed, and with it, the Empire's foothold on Earth. Humanity had won this battle, but Hawk knew it was only the beginning. The Empire would learn of their failure, and they would come back stronger. But for now, the message was clear: humanity wasn't an easy target. They had faced an enemy far beyond their understanding and emerged victorious. Hawk stood on the ridge, watching the smoldering remains of the base. He didn't feel triumph, only resolve. The fight wasn't over, but he was ready for whatever came next. Humans weren't just survivors, they were fighters. And no one, not even a galactic empire, would take that from them. The victory in the Rockies sent shockwaves through humanity and the galactic empire alike. News of the operation, though classified in detail, leaked enough to ignite public speculation. Reports of mysterious disappearances tied to strange technologies suddenly made sense. The fragmented picture of an alien invasion began to coalesce, sparking both fear and a grim sense of pride among Earth's population. Humanity had faced an unimaginable threat, and won. For Hawk, there was no time to celebrate. While governments scrambled to assess the recovered alien tech, he returned to his mountain cabin, preparing for what he knew was inevitable. The Empire wouldn't take this defeat lightly. Their assassins weren't just soldiers. They were symbols of precision and invincibility. To have them defeated so decisively by a primitive species would demand retaliation. The Galactic Empire's leadership convened in their Grand Council chambers, the weight of failure hanging heavy over their discussions. Reports from the commander's final transmissions painted a picture of human resilience that went beyond their expectations. Earth wasn't just a chaotic backwater, it was a planet of unpredictable ingenuity, capable of adapting and countering even the most advanced tactics. For the first time, the Empire hesitated. Humanity had proven that technological superiority alone wasn't enough to guarantee dominance. More importantly, Earth's victory hinted at something dangerous: potential. A species that could fight back against the galaxy's most feared assassins was one that could, given time, pose a genuine threat. The debate among the Empire's leaders was fierce. Some argued for immediate escalation, an orbital strike to erase the planet and ensure humanity could never become a problem again. Others, more cautious, advocated for observation and containment. A direct assault risked further exposing the Empire's existence to other factions in the galaxy. Humanity had to be dealt with, but not recklessly. Back on Earth, the military worked tirelessly to reverse engineer the alien technology salvaged from the assassins and the destroyed base. Engineers, scientists, and tactical experts pooled their knowledge to create prototypes of new weapons, defensive systems, and even rudimentary cloaking devices. The process was slow, but the breakthroughs were significant. For the first time, humanity had tools that could rival their enemies. Hawk watched from the sidelines, offering insights when needed but largely staying out of the limelight. He wasn't interested in politics or recognition. His focus remained on preparation. He knew the Empire wouldn't give them much time, and he wanted to be ready when they returned. As governments unified in their efforts, a sense of global solidarity began to emerge. Nations that once competed for dominance now shared resources and intelligence, recognizing the greater threat looming over them. The fractures that had divided humanity for centuries began to heal under the weight of a common enemy. Hawk's role shifted subtly over the weeks following the battle. While the military focused on large-scale defenses, he trained a select group of operatives in the art of unconventional warfare. He passed on the lessons he'd learned during his encounters with the assassins: how to exploit their weaknesses, how to use terrain and human ingenuity to level the playing field. Among those he trained were soldiers, engineers, and even civilians who had proven themselves capable during the conflict. They became a small, highly skilled force designed not for open warfare, but for precision strikes, humanity's answer to the Empire's assassins. Hawk knew that when the next fight came, it wouldn't be about sheer numbers. It would be about strategy, execution, and the unbreakable resolve of a species that refused to bow. The Empire, meanwhile, began its next move. Observers were dispatched to monitor Earth from a distance, gathering intelligence on the planet's defenses and the extent of its technological advancement. These observers operated with extreme caution, avoiding detection while reporting back to the Empire's high command. Their findings confirmed the Empire's fears. Earth was evolving rapidly. The humans weren't just recovering from the invasion, they were preparing for the next one. Worse, they were beginning to integrate alien technology into their own systems, creating hybrids that blended human ingenuity with advanced engineering. The Empire's response was calculated. They initiated a containment protocol, deploying subtle but far-reaching measures to limit Earth's access to the wider galaxy. Trade routes were rerouted, communications channels blocked, and scouts were tasked with sabotaging any human attempts at space exploration. The goal was to keep humanity isolated, delaying their development, while the Empire devised a long-term solution. Hawk, ever watchful, noticed the signs of the Empire's interference. He warned Earth's leaders, urging them to accelerate their preparations. His warnings didn't fall on deaf ears. Factories ramped up production of new weapons, and training programs expanded to include civilians willing to fight. Despite the challenges, humanity's spirit remained unbroken. The victory in the Rockies had proven one undeniable truth: they were capable of standing against even the most advanced forces in the galaxy. That truth became a rallying cry, spreading hope across the planet. Hawk's final contribution before retreating fully into the shadows was a simple piece of advice, delivered to the leaders of Earth's military coalition. Don't wait for them to strike again. When they come, and they will, take the fight to them. Hit them harder than they expect, and remind them who they're dealing with. With that, he disappeared once more, leaving behind a legacy of defiance and preparation. Hawk didn't need to be in the spotlight to make a difference. His work had already set the foundation for humanity's resistance. In the end, the Galactic Empire's greatest mistake wasn't underestimating Earth's technology. It was underestimating the resolve of its people. Humanity wasn't just surviving, they were evolving, learning, and growing stronger with every challenge. And when the time came to face the Empire again, they wouldn't just defend themselves. They would fight to win.